The morning sun cast a soft glow over the chrome trim of Maplewood Diner, a spot where the aroma of melted butter and sweet syrup typically offered warmth and comfort. Yet on this specific day, the light failed to chase away the cruelty lingering in the hearts of a handful of unkind boys. Near the window booth sat a wheelchair-bound girl, her plate of pancakes resting before her like a delicate barrier against the world. Her name was Lila, and while her expression held the quiet resilience of someone who'd endured much, her shaking hands revealed her unease. The boys at the adjacent booth didn't just mock her, they crossed a line that should never be crossed. One of them swatted the plate from her lap, sending food crashing to the tiled floor, while another shoved her wheelchair back with a taunting push. The diner fell silent. The bullies' laughter echoed louder than the clatter of the falling plate. Lila's eyes filled with tears. She fought to hold them back, but the shame burned more intensely than any physical pain. If you believe kindness should always overcome cruelty, that second chances count, and that no one deserves to be treated this way, take a moment now to like this video, leave a comment, share it with others, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Together, we can remind the world that compassion is stronger than hatred. Lila's life had never been simple. She was born with a spinal condition that left her dependent on a wheelchair, but her parents always told her her spirit was meant to soar, even if her legs couldn't. She held on to that belief, though the world often seemed determined to break it. Every day, she faced quiet stares, whispered comments, or the sympathetic smiles of strangers who couldn't fathom her life. But what she endured that morning at the diner went far beyond pity. It was cruelty sharp enough to wound the soul. As the boys cheered, other diner patrons bowed their heads. Some shook their heads in disapproval, but no one acted. The waitress, her hands stacked with coffee mugs, froze in the aisle, fear written across her face. Lila leaned down awkwardly, trying to gather the pancake pieces with trembling hands, desperate not to draw more attention. Just then another hand reached down, not rough, not mocking, but gentle. An older man with gray at his temples quietly picked up the plate and set it back in front of her. "Pay them no mind," he whispered, though his eyes flickered nervously toward the group of teenagers. The man's kindness was like a small candle glowing in a room full of shadows, but Lila still felt exposed, broken in ways no one could see. After that, she sat quietly, her appetite gone, her throat tight with unspoken questions. She wanted to know why the world worked this way, why people thought it was okay to torment those who were different. Her heart thumped in her chest with every burst of laughter from the bullies, who now boasted loudly about their courage, unaware of how cruel their actions were. Lila closed her eyes and prayed for the hour to pass quickly, for the nightmare to end. An hour later, something unexpected happened, something that shifted the entire mood of the diner. It started as a low rumble, almost like distant thunder. Heads turned toward the wide glass windows as the sound grew louder and more distinct. Dozens of motorcycles pulled into the parking lot, their chrome shining in the daylight. The sight alone made conversations die down and forks pause mid-air. The recognizable Hell's Angels emblem was stitched onto their leather jackets as they parked in a neat line, engines roaring like an approaching storm. The bullies, who'd carried themselves with arrogance just moments before, suddenly grew fidgety. Their smirks faded. Everyone knew the Hell's Angels' reputation: fierce, fearless, and unafraid to stand their ground. When the diner door swung open, the bell jingled softly, but the silence that followed was deafening. A tall man with a beard and steely eyes walked in, his vest heavy with patches. He was followed by another man, then another, until the diner felt smaller, the air thick with tension. Lila's eyes widened, her pulse racing with a mix of fear and curiosity. The man at the front scanned the room, his gaze sharp as it passed over the bullies. Then his eyes softened when they landed on Lila, as if he understood everything without a single word being said. He stepped closer, his boots thudding on the tiled floor, and knelt beside her. For the first time that morning, Lila didn't feel small. She felt seen and protected. The leader, whose name was Jax, turned his head slowly toward the bullies. They sat frozen, their pale faces giving away their guilt. No one dared laugh now. Jax's voice was low and steady, yet powerful enough to cut through the silence. Though Lila couldn't hear his exact words, she watched as shame spread across the bullies' faces and their bravado vanished. One by one, they slid out of the booth and stumbled toward the exit, heads bowed. avoiding every gaze. They didn't dare look Lila in the eye again. Outside, the motorcycles formed a wall of steel and leather, ensuring the boys' embarrassment was complete before they ran off. But Jax didn't stop there. He waved the waitress over, set a large bill on the table, and told her to bring Lila anything she wanted: pancakes, a milkshake, pie, even the entire menu if she liked. He told her she was stronger than any of the cowards who'd tried to break her spirit. Then, in a moment no one at that diner would ever forget, he took off his own leather vest, draped it gently over Lila's shoulders, and told her she was now part of their family. Tears rolled down Lila's face, not tears of shame, but tears of gratitude. In that single hour, her life had changed. What began as a painful morning turned into a moment of deep transformation. She realized kindness could come from unexpected places, and that sometimes the most intimidating-looking people had the kindest hearts. The diner erupted in quiet applause. Some patrons wiped tears from their eyes. The waitress hugged Lila, promising she'd never again feel invisible when she sat at that diner. For the first time in years, Lila felt a surge of hope. She realized that while cruelty existed, so did courage. And sometimes strangers could step in to rewrite your story's ending. If this story has touched your heart and reminded you that kindness can emerge even in the most unlikely places, please take a moment to like this video, share it with friends, subscribe to Kindness Corner, and leave a comment below. Your support helps us keep sharing stories that inspire and heal. Before we finish, I have one special request. Comment below about what you would have done if you'd been in that diner that day. Would you have stood up for Lila? Your words might encourage someone else to act bravely when the moment comes.